I'm hoping that's pretty good. It looks like it is. All right. I'm going to go check that out, make sure everything's going well. It'll be interesting to see what kind of, after going live 2 nights in a row, what kind of response we're going to get off of YouTube. But let me first make sure, everybody, I did. Cheers, Walker. Thanks for joining us again 2 nights in a row. Hey. Oh, this is our normal Tuesday night podcast every Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8:30 Eastern Standard Times. We're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, and we talk all things whiskey and bourbon. We've been on a bourbon roll lately with Kentucky Bourbon Festival coming up and then also Bourbon on the Banks. But after that, we're going to get into a little bit of Japanese and Scotch whiskey after that. But I'm checking YouTube right now. Welcome. We're going to get going as soon as I make sure that this live is got sound. Let's push that baby. There I am. Let's see. Does it have sound? I'm checking YouTube right now. All right. All right. Tater Dom is here too. As soon as I make sure. Welcome. That this live is got sound. There we go. Welcome everyone. Good to see some of the people there. We're staying. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate for the sound check for YouTube. I'm looking a little bit crooked there, so I'm gonna get my hat on right. Let's do that, and then get the headphones on. That might be a little bit better. It's like that was not a good look for me. Wow, that was funny because now I'm looking and that's a much better look, a much better look. Sometimes I'm here by myself. It's like you're looking for makeup, and they're just not there right away. So I'm gonna take the keyboard and place that right here. Get that out of my way. I've got an extra glass. We'll pull those 2 glasses out in case we decide we're going to do anything. And then, all right. So we've got the YouTube going. Anybody, Tater, Dom, if you have questions on what we're doing tonight, feel free to ask because I'm going to be monitoring YouTube, Facebook comments. I got my Facebook comments right here up on the monitor. I've got my Facebook or YouTube comments right here on my. I'm going to point that up a little bit and see if I can. Yeah, let's try that. Let's do that. All right, that's working better. And then I got my YouTube. You could see it right there. So that way I don't have to look down so much. We're ready to go. So the way this works is I'm Tiny of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We're going to get going. There's going to be a 30-second spot for our sponsors. Our sponsors are the Spirit of French Lick, which I was in the middle of doing right before, talking about French Lick and our barrel pick coming up that we did through Super Nash. And I'm going down to be picking that up not this weekend, but the following weekend. So if anybody's interested, just contact me either on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know, leave a comment how we can get, and I can be able to bring something back for you if I need to. Also, remember our other sponsor, Rosewood Bourbon. Remember Rosewood Bourbon and Rye, Jason Giles, great guy. Go to bourbonoutfitters.com and his Rosewood Bourbon and Ryes are available right there. So check it out on that website. And then also remember Alan Bishop, if you has ghosts, you have everything is the current podcast season is the new season is out. He's putting out new episodes, fantastic podcast. And then also through Alan Bishop, you have the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. So if you love whiskey and you love the geekiness and the technical aspect of distilling, that's a fantastic YouTube channel. That's Alan Bishop's One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute on YouTube. Check it out. Fantastic information. Alan keeps us going. Alan is now at Old Homestead Distillery. I can't wait till he's starting to put stuff out and he's distilling away, busy as hell. But we're starting over again, folks. So at the moment, at the Spirit of French Lick, all of his stuff's there, and it's not. You don't have to start over, and especially with our barrel pick here, the Lillian Vernon and the Lee W or the William Dalton that we basically have available. You're not going to want to miss out. These were his last barrel picks that he did with any group or anybody. So we were able to go around, get one of the two of the better barrels. So check it out. Let me know if you need anything. I'm right here. All right, so I'm gonna get going. I gotta be quiet for 30 seconds. I can be quiet by myself. No guests tonight, no other Scotchy Bourbon Boys. So I'm gonna be quiet. Then you're gonna hear after that 30, 25, 30 seconds, you'll hear our theme song, and then we'll get going with the podcast. Here we go. Drinking bourbon, sipping on some scotch. We get a little wild, it's sure fun to watch. Love what we do, we're drinking everything. Little thing, we talk some sweet, but we're telling. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, raising the hell, making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun. Woo-wee! All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. This podcast episode, that was Kenny Fuller, who did our theme song. You've heard it many times. He had that theme song. I don't think I'll ever change. I love it. It is our quality keeps coming up. We haven't had a lot of technical difficulties, but it kind of matches the quality. It's starting to match the quality of what Kenny did for us as far as our Scotchy Bourbon Boys theme song. It's catchy. People love it. Thank you so much, Kenny, for that. Check out Kenny Fuller on YouTube. He does some other musical things. I think in the future, if all the stuff keeps going forward, Kenny would be the person that I would definitely want to do some of our background music and some of our transition music, that type of thing. And I've talked to him recently, and he said he was very, very interested in doing something like that. And hopefully, as we keep going down, we've got things all planned out with Roku. We've got things right now. YouTube is taking off. Facebook is doing well. Overall, I believe we've in a week we're getting up around 15,000 people seeing the Scotchy Bourbon Boys every week, and that is a phenomenal thing. We just keep trying to keep going forward, getting the word out, talking about bourbon and whiskey, which we love to do. Hopefully, it keeps going. I'm coming up. Believe it or not, September 21st, I'll be 60. So the big 60's coming up. So it's going to be interesting what's planned for the big 60. I have no idea. Roxy's, she keeps that kind of stuff, so I'm surprised, and I appreciate everything that Roxy does for me. So uh, remember, www.scotchybourbonboys.com for everything Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Check it out. We've got Glencairns. We got t-shirts of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. And then it's been a while since we made a batch of the Scotchy Bourbon Balls, but that's coming. I've got the pecan soaking and everything. When you break your wrist, get your wisdom teeth removed, and then end up with a stomach virus, it's the first time in a while I've felt pretty good. Last couple days, finally, the last weekend, I was on the mend, and now I'm starting to come back. Overall, this was a wild summer. I We didn't really miss a beat in a lot of ways, but able to come through, keep doing the podcast. But doing a podcast and not feeling good or in pain isn't the greatest. But right now, with leading up to Kentucky Bourbon Festival, which is the 13th, 14th, and 15th. That is going to be exciting in September in Kentucky for this great festival. And I'm going to be healthy, knock on wood. If God forbid nothing else happens, I don't have other stuff planned. But all right, so also remember we're on all the social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. Check us out there, and then also listen anywhere you go. You can listen to us. Watch us on YouTube. We can watch us live, and you can see all the podcasts, from video standpoint on YouTube, and see us live on Facebook. But you can also listen to us on all the major podcast formats: Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Pandora, whatever you listen to, Deezer, if you're a gamer, it's just, we're there. One of the greatest things I think is listening to Scotchy Bourbon Boys and playing a Call of Duty or playing a game online while you're sipping on a bourbon or a scotch and listening to the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. So there you go. What we got here tonight, we got Bill Johnson watching. Thank you, Bill. You've been a great fan lately. It's been a while that you've been catching all the podcasts. Thank you for joining us. And then also Jamie Jacobs. Good to see you again tonight. And then also Walker Leland is on tonight. Leland Wright. We've got some of the core fans of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys listening. So, I'm excited about this podcast tonight, because we're going to be dealing with some limited and special editions and talking about these releases that happen. The state of Ohio has been, what would you say, a great proponent of these special editions and limited editions. They've made some limited editions kind of, well, we're not going to really try and cover single barrels because single barrels in the by nature, that's its own subject because a single barrel, you're just talking about one barrel of whiskey. It's extremely limited. But as far as collectibles, single barrels aren't always, unless you're collecting them off of a festival, a barrel pick off of a festival so that you've got this barrel pick from this festival. But as far as barrel picks go, otherwise, for the store picks or on the shelf or whatever, those aren't as collectible as these special and limited edition batches, either small batches or sometimes they do a limited edition. It's barrel proof, but it'll be a batch. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about when it comes to the special editions and the limited editions. So, anyways, I did want to cover real quick beforehand the schedule of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys going forward. We are going to be podcasting at New Riff August 23rd. We are going down on August 24th to pick up the barrels from the Spirit of French Lick. That's the William Dalton second pick, and then also the Lillian Sinclair brand introduction. Alan has done a specific uh, batch. He had only a couple barrels, and he dropped in French oak staves in our barrel, a French oak stave, and let it sit in there for about 3 months. So this particular brand launch of Lillian Sinclair kind of was with the Scotchy Bourbon Boys in mind. Alan has been promoting it and been in a part of this from the start. It's the last barrel pick that Alan did with anybody before he left the Spirit of French Lick. And then also now, once we're finished at French Lick on that Saturday, we're going to head to Glens Creek. I want to not Glens Creek. What Beck's Mill? I think that's it. Beck's Mill, which is where he does mash in or distilling. He sets up a small still and shows everybody what people, he does a distilling demonstration there. It is a working mill. We're going to head over there with a lot of the bottles, and if anybody comes down, he's willing to sign some of the bottles right there on site. If you're in Indiana, let me know that day. Come on over, visit us, meet us at the front at Spirit of French Lick, or meet us at Beck's Mill, or meet us at Old Homestead, because after that, that's where we're headed off to, and we're going to spend the night there. And then on Sunday, we're going to be in the Kentucky area. Hopefully, I'm hoping that we're going to be at Heaven's Door at the distillery. So we've got podcasts and things coming up in that weekend of August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Um, I'm probably going to be the following weekend. I'm going to be going, I believe it's September 30th and 31st, but I'm going to, that Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to head up to Wisconsin to have anybody who ordered it. I will have a pickup point in Wisconsin on that weekend. And then that following weekend, which is September 7th, we are going to start, honestly, we're going to start our Kentucky Bourbon Festival tour. We'll be in Kentucky from September 7th through September 15th. So while we're down there, I'll give you a schedule. We're going to be at Kentucky Bourbon Festival on, through media and running around, capturing all the stuff for that. We have our September 11th bus tour. That is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be in the Bardstown area. It's a bus tour. The bus tour picks up at our Airbnb. We head off to Bardstown Bourbon Company. We're going to have a barrel thieving experience. Then we're going to head to Limestone Branch. And after that, we're going to have, I believe, after the barrel experience, we're going to have lunch. Then we're going to head to Limestone Branch, and we are going to have a single barrel program. Hopefully, Stephen Fonte will be leading us with that. And then after that, we head to Heaven Hill, and we're having a connoisseur tasting of the whiskey there at Heaven Hill. So I got to contact Sarah Evans to see when we're there for that connoisseur tasting. Maybe she can get Connor to come out and maybe lead the tasting for the Scotchy Bourbon Boys or something like that. Or when we're at Limestone Branch, hopefully Stephen Beeman and Stephen Fonte lead up that. And then I've been talking a little bit to Greg Schneider to see what would happen and who could lead the thieving. But the whole thing's going to be captured by Bo Cumberland. He's going to be coming in and taking it, and we are going to be doing a Roku TV show on this one. We are going to get everything, all the information we possibly can, maybe 2, 3 TV shows out of it. I don't know. Well, I'm going to be talking to Bo real soon about how we're going to do the coverage, and I also have to talk to my other guy, Randy, about what we're doing. Um, We can't wait. We had Randy Pressey on last week about the Kentucky Bourbon Festival, our number one podcast ever. Not even close. Between YouTube and Facebook, we're sitting at almost 9,000 people viewed the podcast. Fantastic. This has been a great ride. So then after that, the first weekend in October is Bourbon on the Banks. So we are going to be there too. That Friday night we set up. It's a Saturday event, and then Sunday we'll be headed back. So check us out there. That Bourbon on the Banks we are a part of. You're going to see. We've got the tent. We've got some of the stuff all set up. This is going to be a blast. Can't wait. It should be I can't wait to get down there this year for Bourbon on the Banks, and we should be having a podcast with, Diane Strong, Renee True, and Amzi Winning. I'm in the process of trying to set that up at the moment. So there you go. That's what's going on with the Scotchy Bourbon Boys at this time. And there's going to be an Ohio craft distillery weekend also. I was Ann Dimmick reminded me of that just recently. So we got to get that in between the Bourbon Festival and the Bourbon on the Banks. So this is going to be one crazy coming up weekend or months. These next couple months. So um, the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, you know, there's advantages no matter what and where. I mean, there is one more ticket available for the bus tour. So if anybody's interested on that September 11th and being on the all day, ticket price on that was 275, I believe. So if you want to, if anybody's interested, let me know because that ticket, if anybody found anybody, we would love to have you go on it. That bus tour is going to be the craziest ever, and the pours on the bus are always fantastic. We are going to be drinking a Jim Beam decanter from 1972. I know that I've got a JW Dant that I'm going to bring around, and then also Super Nash is always going to outdo himself. I know that he's been looking lately. We'll see what happens on that bus tour, but I mean, you can't miss out on it. The It's just fantastic, and we take care of you. There's lunch, the whole thing, three different distilleries, and behind the scenes, experiences for each one. So it's a 1 day experience, and you're on a bus, and you can, do whatever you got to do. You can just, we all pace ourselves and, keep it hang in there. But this is going to be fantastic. So contact me if you got anybody who wants to come along. Uh, Back to school, working Weller 12 drop week here. Yeah, Weller 12 would be one of the special releases, and that's what we're going to get into real quick. Good to see you, John. When I'm on my way up, I think you have a bottle that you picked up at one time from the distillery that I got to get from you still. And I think this time when I'm going up, I'll have time because I believe I'm going to be by myself, bringing all that stuff up, bringing up the pick and everything. So, all right, everybody. Great to have you here. The podcast tonight. Feel free to jump in like John just did, or anybody who's on YouTube. Feel free to jump in too. Let's see. Akush is on, and he says hi. Tater Dom's here and has done the video check for me and everything. But anybody on YouTube or Facebook, make sure I'll say hi or we'll talk about it. It's great that I can interact. But let's just talk about a limited edition or a special edition that happens out of the distilleries these days. Now, there's different kinds, and we're going to go through the different kinds. So there's batches, and the batches are limited to some extent. Like, let's just cover the few right away. Bookers, it's a batch. They do 4 to 5 a year. Each batch that comes out, but it's really each one's different to in essence of itself, but it's made out of the same mash bill and it's barrel strength. And each one is unique because they go through and batch out at barrel strength, dump the barrels and put it, and then put out the batches. They are numbered and named. Very cool. It's limited edition because they only make a certain amount, and the next time they make the Bookers, it's going to be different. So that's collectible. But as far as a limited edition or special edition, it's on the, what would you say? It's on the very obtainable. Uh, you can get it. They make enough of it. So Booker's, though, is put into, if you look behind me, everybody, but it's put into a wood box. It's got a very nice, beautiful bottle with a wax top, a ribbon on it. Each box has a plastic front face sliding protective clear plastic, you know, front face cover. And then inside every single Booker's, there's a little card that tells you exactly where the barrels were in the rick houses, how old they were, and how much of a percentage of these barrels they used in the batch. So they're very specific in the batch. These are batch limited editions. The Booker's comes out every year, and then there's also Elijah Craig does a barrel strength 3 times a year, ABC batches, A21, A0, A0, A20, A20. Oh, so the month it'll go A, let's just say 121, meaning that it was the January of 21, 1920 or 2021, not 1921. And then B will be 521. And then C will be, I believe it's 921 when those come. A 921, like, yeah. So when you're getting these different batches as they come out, once again, their barrel strength and they're numbered every single time they come out. They're barrel proof, and it's their batch for the year of that time of the year so that you can monitor the batches. And once again, they're limited to each run, but once again, they're obtainable. They're also in a price range, 69 to $99 a piece. That is something that is, I would say, for bourbon, when you're coming to the limited editions or special editions, reasonably priced, because those are the batches that are coming out multiple times a year consistently, and they're the amount that they put out per, of bottles is a reasonable amount that most people, if you try hard enough, you can obtain each batch. It's not a hard thing. You gotta might maybe wait in line when it gets released, or if you miss it there, you go to the distillery, and the distillery releases those all the time. That's the kind of limited editions that I find. That's, to me, those are reasonable. I know that what's the other now, there are some editions that come out yearly, and these are the ones that so many people obtain, and I'll talk about a couple right now. Um, One of my favorite is Russell's 13. This is a barrel proof. It's 13 years old, and it's wild turkey. It's Russell's Reserve. I absolutely love this release. I do things to try and get it. And I think that in this case, especially when it first came out, I believe the first Russell's 13 was like 89.99, $90. And it was, now I believe the current is 159.99, and the 15 year that just came out was kind of cool too. Hussein is, I can't read it or don't have access to translation, but howdy man is on YouTube. But these yearly releases, Russell's 13, Baker's 13. Yellowstone comes out with a special release right here. It's Yellowstone 101. This one is Kentucky. Every year it's a little different. This one was in, all right. I gotta grab the glasses right around the corner here. I know they're there. Or are they? Oh, nope, nope, nope. They're not around the corner. They're in the front where they should be. I'm digging where I was organized and didn't take advantage of it. But this is in the Tokai casks. This was bourbon whiskeys finished in Tokai cask. And Toka- Tokachi, I think it's a Tokachi cask, right? Toki cast. That's what it is. To Toki cast. Anyways, Tokaji. I've heard it a million times, but I'm tiny of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, and I suck at that part of this. Um, this was the 2023 release from Yellowstone. It's in a limited edition. And these, when they run between 129 and 169, they've been out for whatever. They're great bottles too. These are the special bottles. Now, a lot of people, it's collectible because of the fact that, in my opinion, this level type bourbon, also, there's the Weller release that comes out of the CYPB. Now there's Weller Antique 107, and there's Weller Special Reserve that comes out all the time. But the Weller brand also produces a Weller 12 year. It also produces a single barrel and the CYPB. These Wellers are produced, I believe the 12 year comes out twice a year, and the CYPB comes out once a year. So they're limited releases, and those are very reasonably priced. Um, Buffalo Trace reasonably prices all their releases, but to get the release is a very difficult thing to do. Even getting the Antique 107 across this country or their special reserve, it's not in all markets. And a lot of people try and get it here in Ohio. It's in our hi, Brazil. HHS, good to see you. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We're still on, saying hi to everybody. But if anybody wants to talk about any specific special release, but the Russell's 13, in my opinion, if I come across that bottle on a special release, I'm buying it. Hopefully I'm not gonna pay secondary, but whatever it is at the distillery and the 15, Russell's 15, I'm trying to find it. Now, I don't know, Russell's 15 is 2 years. That's the original Russell's, the same year that the original Russell 13 came out. This will be the 3rd year, I believe, for Russell's 13. And 2 years ago, the Russell's 13 was fantastic. Last year, it was really good, but not as fantastic. And then I haven't tasted Russell's 13 for this year. I'm going to be looking for that bottle when we're at Kentucky in September. Also, the 15, I will definitely be looking for. But these releases now that we're talking about, the Russell's 13, the Baker's 13, you do get some of them released into the actual market, okay, that you can buy at the liquor store on a allocated basis, where the distiller or the liquor agency will basically open up and have either bourbon raffles or bourbon lines, people who wait in line overnight, everything. So there's ways to get these. Now, are these the one that I couldn't obtain would be Colonel Taylor Barrel Proof, EH Taylor Barrel Proof. It took forever for me to get one. I got one this year. I had to wait in line overnight. Not a lot of things I'll wait in line overnight for, but that was one because I had it in my hand 6, 7 times, but I was always the one who missed out on it. So This time I wanted to get it and I got it this year. So these type releases that are a little bit lower priced, these limited editions, especially from Buffalo Trace, the E.H. Taylor barrel proofs, they're not over $100. Same thing with the Bookers, not over $100. Now, we're gonna get into the higher end special edition, special releases, right? These now, these are what I'm kind of talking about. I really feel that Baker's 13, Russell's 13. Hello, Rachel? Oh, sorry. I just didn't hear you leave. I didn't know you came back. Kind of scared me. So someone came in the house, but it's just like I'm down here in the basement making sure that nobody's gonna rob me. Anyways, not that that's really even a thing, but here we go. So we're on the Russell's 13. These type of whiskeys that you can get in line at your local, or go to the distillery and get some of these different releases at the distillery. I'm pretty much on board for anything between 159, 169. That is where I sit. Okay. So those are very expensive bottles, limited releases. And I still feel the whiskey in the bottle is an upgrade from the whiskey in the bottle from a 20 to 40 to $60 bottle. The whiskey's just better. But is it, if just let's just say, is Booker's at $100 and Jim Beam Black or single barrel or whatever, and they sit in the $24 range. So let's just say, is Booker's $75 more than those Jim Beam products? And I will have to say, I love Booker's. It's barrel strength and I really enjoy it. Do I get 75 more dollars worth of flavor and taste? Probably not $75 more flavor and taste. But do I get more flavor and taste? Yes. Do I get more in packaging and knowledge and the whole presentation and display? That's kind of what you get on these particular bottles. You get a better, it's overall the bourbon's better, don't get me wrong. But is it $75 better? That's a tough one. Uh but for the bourbon collectors and everybody in this bourbon in our blind Russell. So we got Simfire training says the Baker 7 tasted better than the 13 in our blind Russell's 15 is better than the 10 or the 13 to him. So that's really unique, Sim. What I'll say to that is the Baker 7 is a single barrel. So the Baker's 13 is a batch that's put together in a limited edition, but that Baker's 7 is a single barrel. So if you get a really good single barrel Bakers, and I love Bakers, and I haven't had many bad, but you get a really good one, it's going to compete with the 13. But the 13, you're going to deal with a little bit more complexity and a little bit more of the wood oak aspect being 6 years older. But, I actually got my one bottle signed by Baker, Fredno, and Freddie. So it's signed by all three, and I've got that one put up. But I also have the Baker's 13 bottle that I have here that I have for drinking. I wish I tasted Russell's 15. I hope I get to, but I could believe you on the Russell's 15 being better than the 13, because that Russell's 15 is based off the batch that the first Russell 13, it was 13 years old when they introduced Russell's 13. So they probably took some really good barrels that looked like they could go a little bit further from that 13, that original batch of 13, and it took it 2 more years, and I could see that happening, being a really I really wanna get a hold of the Russell's 15. I gotta get a hold of Bruce or Eddie or Jimmy and have them, get them on the podcast to taste the 15. That would be a blast. Going in. Yeah. Northern said he had his first Redwood Empire really good. I haven't actually had Redwood Empire, but getting back now to so you've got the batches, the every quarter or every third of the year. Those are your limited editions, reasonably priced for getting some better bourbon. Then you got your yearly releases, the Russell's 13, the Baker's 13, the Yellowstone um special edition, limited edition that they put out right around the time of Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Fantastic whiskey. But these are a little bit higher priced. I think in my opinion we're dealing with some good ass whiskey. Now, let's take it up to the next notch. Jim Beam releases the Hardin's Creek, which they released a couple different versions. One year they had, and Hardin's Creek is a got some cool packaging. It's got the bottle in there. It's got a little you take out, this is the Boston. You got the leather strap. You got the really now these are the limited editions that I'm talking about. They're on 2 or 3 different levels, okay? Now this particular one, you take it and this topper is this copper a brass topper, really kind of cool, heavy. It's this one is actually not cork. It's got it is the synthetic. It's got this little uh strap, a leather strap around with the little what would you say, coin. And Hardin's Creek, you're dealing with 15-year it depends. The one when it was now I'm gonna get into this Boston batch. I'll quickly tell you what it is. Um, and this particular one was 159.99. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Uh 107, born US, Kentucky. Let me see. I'm going to put the cover on real quick because I'm going to look for the age statement on this. 100, no, it was 110 proof, 55% alcohol. For it was column distilled and double distilled. United States of America, 55 DSP. So the Boston batch on this particular thing is not telling me. Let's see. Are we looking at 01 age evaluation 129? All right. I'm trying I'm going to pull out the real quick. Hey, let's see. All right. Thank you, Walker. I was going to ask you the question, but I didn't. I should. I'm just an idiot. 17-year. So this is a 17-year-old bourbon. So one of the things about these limited editions. Okay. So you're talking 17 years. So this has to sit in a barrel 17 years. The barrels have to make sure those barrels are cared for. If they're leaking, they have to do certain things. They have to be tasted throughout to make sure that the quality barrel, there's only certain barrels that match up along the way, to be able to, you know what would you say, handle the 17 years. Bourbon's different than when you're talking about scotch basically, scotches, what would you say? They Scotches to me, they're in used barrels, and they're in colder climate aging. And when you're talking about a brand new charred oak barrel from in Kentucky, you're talking about a massive amounts of flavor that go through, and you got to basically be able to, what would you say, manage that stock so it doesn't become overaged and too oaky, too bitter, that type of thing. So you're always we talked a little bit about with Fred No at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival last year about over aging. But 17 years, so that's a skill to get it there. You had to wait 17 years. You had to pay taxes on it for a good amount of time. And so it's just automatically going to be more money. So but then is all that worth what's in the glass? And again, that's what we're talking about. I find on these batches, especially like the Boston at 110, it drinks with this giant bold flavor. This has a little bit of a charred oaky flavor, but if you're into that type of bourbon, these batches are pretty darn cool. Uh, Now we go into one of our favorite Greg Schneider's. This is chicken cock. This is the red stave. These start to get up in price. Now, one of the things Chicken Cock has done is brought back, on these special editions, they bring back these tins. They're spectacular tins. There's thing. This is a red stave. The red stave, it comes with the story. Uh, but these are, I believe, this one was, I want to say, 3.99. Chicken cock was originally established in 18. We go through all that. Peter is produced. Okay. Shira. So this was finished in petite Shira barrels. It's they finished it in a red stave petite Syrah barrel finish. So what they did is took the whiskey, put it in there, and then finished it off in these particular barrels. These barrels that it's finished off are not cheap. They are working on a Japanese oak. This one, where the barrel itself that they put the whiskey in, is $5,000. So you've got classic, great design. Look at that bottle. That is chicken coop wire right there. You got the cock label. That's the 2023 red stave. Um, special finish. So this whiskey here is purchased. It's not always going to be Greg Schneider's, but they're going to start using the distillate. We're right at the 5-year, 6-year mark for the stuff that he's been distilling, and they're doing single barrel releases. They're doing batches with it. It's just fantastic whiskey. So the finishing's going to start to happen. But this here is stuff that was purchased that Greg Schneider found with how to finish it. He is in charge of making sure it doesn't get overdone. He loves to do this type of stuff with whiskey, and then you get this great packaging and everything, and then you have it at $400-500 a bottle for this particular. The tins that are made match the tins that chicken cock was in the 10s 1920s when it was popular initial. They're very close to the tins of the original chicken cock whiskey. So very cool all around. I think on these you have to be a serious whiskey collector to be getting these bottles. These bottles are, quite frankly, very unique whiskey that are in the bottles. This is an elite type thing on these special releases, but it's very difficult. There's so many out there that you've gotta, what would you say? I'm gonna have a little bit of the red stave too. You've gotta, what would 100% you have. Yeah, that was noisy. There we go. It went in. You have to have a little bit of money to keep purchasing it. There's probably, in my opinion, maybe a batch or two where this would be something that you would want to. What was that? That was interesting. I'm trying to think what made that noise. Wait, it makes no sense. What that okay, I'll just be quiet. Um Nothing fell off and broke. That I think oh, that was the Hardins Creek. And then the red stave. Fantastic whiskeys from both ends. Um the red stave deals with a little bit of like more desserty. It's like a chocolate, some caramel, where you're dealing with more of a campfire vanilla with uh, the Hardins Creek. Um, wait, excuse me, the Shiraz. Yeah, American grape equivalent to Shiraz. The newest will be the Mizurana. Yes, we talked about the Mizurana, the Japanese oaks. Once again, what's the price going to be? Now, this is what I wanted to say. I think if you have the money, this is just my opinion. Every expression is solid for redwood. Okay. Thanks, man. Just that was from Sim talking to Northman and Walker's been all last year 17 except Jacob's well and this year's latest corn whiskey. That I haven't had yet. I can't wait. We'll see. Hopefully I'm going to pick up some of that when I'm at the festival. Uh so I wanted to get into another aspect. The Ed Bly has been on, and he did this pot still, and this particular one, um, this is the Rising Tide Old Stubborn. Great presentation once again. You're still talking about $225 for bottle of Jacob's Well 184th month's age. I have not opened my Hardin's Creek. Um, now, Sim, is that from the Hardin's Creek? Is that from this year? 184 month. I don't even know what's 184 divided by 12. 12 goes into 18 so then that leaves you with 6 5. So it's a 15 year, right around the 15 year. I think I've got that one also. I pretty much have to open my bottles, especially when it comes to stuff like this, because this Old Stubborn, Ed came on, we tasted it. It was a wheat. He went very specific. Now, learned a lot about this particular bottle for me. 15 and a third. Yeah. Uh, This is a weeded bourbon. It is from West Virginia pot still. Very 11, I believe 12 and 13-year old or 11 and 12-year old. Well, maybe 14 and 15-year old. Let me see. I will make sure because 13-year old, 10, 11, and 13-year old pot still whiskey. Got to do some blending right here on the podcast with Ed and this particular bottle, and then he came out with his second release. This is his first release, 123 proof, 225. But where this limited edition happens is the limited amount of whiskey that there was available, how much it cost to purchase this off the market. Now, this was purchased at a time when right now aged whiskey is at a premium, and he was able to get this particular these barrels, and he's done two batches, a weeded and also a standard rye bourbon. Uh, so this is a special edition that we're talking about now. Um, Here we go. I'm gonna taste that one. All these, all these special editions that I'm drinking right now, these high proof barrel strength special editions. The whiskey's fantastic. Um, it's 3 times better than the regular your regular barrel strength. As far as Booker's goes, I really enjoy Booker's, but it's a step up on complexity when you're getting into that 159 to $225 price range. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the really expensive. I believe Michter's puts out one called Centent. I want to say Millennium, and then I know that. Well, let's just make sure. Say so, Walker. So Weller put out. Tell me what it is. The Centennial, or is it the Millennial bottle? The Millennium bottle, and what did which one Centur? So what does Michter's have? They're a very expensive bottle, and I want to talk about them, but I get them mixed up. So I'm looking for you, Walker, to help me out here. Just waiting. I'll wait a sec. Thanks everybody for watching on YouTube. That's been great so far tonight. Good amount of people. That's Weller Millennium. And then thank you, John, also. And then it's Michter's, not 25 years. They actually have, it's called, I believe, the Centennial batch, which was about 20, if I'm not mistaken, a $2,700 bottle. But we're getting in the Michter's 25-year-old, I think, is a $2,500 bottle. If I'm no, I think it might have been. Hey Terry, sipping some barrel finish gin tonight. Oh, that's rough on me because that's gin is something that gin is my to me what vodka is to to Fred Minnick. So I'm not gonna dispute anything. My son loves gin, so I help him out there a lot of times. And he actually makes me try gins, and I'm just it's rough on me. Even Kelly from Whiskey Thief has this gin in a bourbon barrel that she made, and gin lovers think it's fantastic, but it's just not my cup of tea for gin. But Terry, cheers, man. Everybody's got their own thing, that's for sure. But the Michter's 25, these are the $1,000 bottles. Drinking a pine cone, yeah, or any number of other herbs that are added into. There's no doubt about it. Just not what I'm not into it. I want my I there now have to admit that putting it in a bourbon barrel helped it out because it absorbed a decent amount of bourbon in there. So I was able to drink that one that Kelly did there at Whiskey Thief. Hopefully, at one point, I'll get a bottle. But these really expensive ones, going back to the Weller Millennium, that was out the door $8,300, a $7,500 bottle with $800 in taxes. Now that bottle was from turn of the century, the beginning of the millennium, whiskey that they've been aging. Now I haven't had a chance to try it. An $8,500 bottle. The only why I'm trying it is if someone else bought it, opened it, and let me sample it. I don't even think I'm in for $450 a pour. It's just, in my opinion, when we get into those special bottles, they're rare as hell. But the whiskey can't. There's no whiskey on this planet that is $8,500 or even $3,500 deep. Now, when we're talking about hundreds, I will say the most I've spent on a bottle is $335. It was a Founders series from Rabbit Hole called Race King. And isn't it like 1,500 a pour, you're saying, John? No, I at 8,000, I think there's a total of 25. No, I'm talking about 1 ounce pours, and there's a total of 25. So if you divide 8,000 by 25, I think 25 times 400 comes out to 8,000, right? Yeah, 25 times 400 times 5 is 2,000, and you've got to do that 4 times 400. Yeah. So anyways, 25 times 400. Someone do the math for me here. Anyways, so we're looking at, these high end bottles, and realistically they exist. And the reason why they exist is because people that have money want to spend their money on something. But that doesn't mean the whiskey in the bottle is that good. I mean, there's Double Oak, which was a $3,500 bottle. Not in for that either. Now, $3,500. I'm not in for $2,500. Now, it would be nice to have a pour of these to know what it's all good, still expensive. Yeah, John says it. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, can you spend um the Founders collection of the Race King is a spectacular bourbon. Great topper, the whole thing, the box. At 330, I had saved up to buy bourbon. So I had the money. Just like this year, if I have the money saved up to spend it on bourbon, I can decide how much I want to spend on this bourbon or that bourbon, or how many bottles of this I want to get and how many bottles of that. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into what we do as far as purchasing. Now, it's just like those special editions. I will say that there's no whiskey on the planet that that is $8,500 or $8,475 better than Jim Beam. There's not. Even Jim Beam regular. But I think that when you're getting in, the most that I'm in for is right around that 330, but that's the highest. I might buy one of those bottles every 5, 10 years. But when you're dealing with the 159, the 169, and these special releases, those bottles are, if you have one that you super like and you love it and you can obtain it, it's like it's something to do. That's what the special releases are. So let's just review before we get going. Limited editions, Ennis, hello, from the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Thanks for watching. The limited editions, the special editions, what are they? Okay, they're special releases, either released throughout the country at a limited amount in batches, and then once they're there, they're gone, or they're once a year releases with very allocated releases to the country, and also sold directly from the distillery. Now, there's one last one. It's Blood Oath, Blood Oath and Little Book. Those are once a year releases. These are releases of whiskeys that are made up of different type whiskeys. For instance, Little Book can use. Some years they come out with bourbons and ryes, and some years a rye, some year there's a bourbon, some year there's Canadian whiskey in there. The blenders, these are blends made by either Freddie No or oh my god, I can't believe, Lux Row, his name is, John. All right, everybody. Come on, Walker, Lux Row Master Distiller. Ah, completely drew a blank, but uh, you can help me out on that one. We're finishing up here, but also responsible for Blood Oath, and Blood Oath is um, purchased barrels and whiskey that the master distiller from Lux Row goes around. He mixes some of his, some of other people's. He puts it all together and he makes Blood Oath and releases it once a year. Again, we're talking about in the high 160s, 170s, whatever. These are once a year, and it's really kind of a really cool thing. So, you want these limited editions and special editions. I do believe the majority of them that are really worth it. Maybe finding out how you can taste those really expensive ones, because the really expensive ones, when you're talking about Pappy Van Winkle 15 and 20 and 23, those are really I believe the Pappy Van Winkle 23 is 299.99. I think that the 199.99 is the 20, but then you're dealing with like 159, 149 for the 15 year. All those Van Winkles, if you can get them on regular price, they're all worth it. Fantastic bourbon, but it's all that secondary price that you have to pay otherwise. So I want to real quick. Maker's Mark produces a bunch of private select type batches, creamy pumpkin pie here for the state of Ohio. There is Parker Heritage comes out every once a year, I believe, is released by the Heaven Hill Distillery, and those batches are 159, 169. There's the Heaven Hill 17 and 18 year. Now those get up, but we're still in the hundreds. John Rempe. Yep, that was it. Google says, yeah, thank you, Walker. John does a really good job with Blood Oath. These releases, in my opinion, those that everybody goes after, if you can get them at MSRP, well worth it. Well worth it. So, I want to say that, overall, that the special editions and the limited editions are, if they're in that 100 to $200 price range or anything below that, they're worth it, especially if you have one you specifically like, if it's your brand and it's an upgrade on your brand. But if you're talking about beyond that, you're talking into a little bit higher. Now you really have to know the whiskey's good before you're going to spend the money. And yeah, cellar aged now from Maker's Mark is 158 out the door. I mean, it's cellar aged, is something unique. It's from Maker's Mark, something that they don't do a lot of, and it's, that type of whiskey, in my opinion, that 158 price is worth it. Now, when I first got into this, I thought my first bottle of Booker's at $80, 79.99 was high, and I was spending a lot of money on this. But, as you keep going into collecting and everything, what you allot yourself yearly, you kind of back off on some of the $20, $25 bourbons, save up a little bit and buy the $150 ones, because each one is 750 milliliters, and if you're collecting, you can't drink it all. There's no way I'm drinking this, whether it's a $20 bottle or a 159 bottle. They're all pretty much the same fill level. So, anyways, I hope that this helps you out, everybody, as far as what you pick up, as far as those special releases and those limited releases, and what's worth it. Some of them you got to wait in line to get. Some of them are really highly unobtainable. You want to go out and spend 129.99 or 40, 149.99, but there you weren't there fast enough, and so you don't get to do it. So a lot of times when they do present themselves for those MSRPs and it's a nice bottle, you'll drop the cash. So that's just my opinion. Like I said, I don't believe there's a bourbon 80, a $8,500 bourbon. The packaging on that millennial um, or that Millennium bottle was unfreaking believable. It was so big. It opened up, it lit up, it presented itself. The bottle's amazing. It's got a package with the story and everything. Fantastic marketing for packaging. Great for anybody to put up, but it's $8,500. My first car I bought was a Chrysler Horizon, and I paid $5,600. So someone is buying a bottle of bourbon for more than I paid for my first brand new car. Concept, perspective. If you have the money, but it's like if you don't got the money, you don't need to be spending $8,500 on nothing except groceries and your car payment and your house payment. It's kind of how that works. That really gets into, that type of thing. So, anyways, um, I want to thank John Ritt. I want to thank Walker, Jamie, Bill for watching. I want to Tater Dom, Simfire, Anis, also Northman. Great having you guys, HHS, Hussein, Akush, for watching tonight. So, anyways, I'm gonna finish this up right now. This is just gonna be the regular podcast. If people from Facebook and YouTube want me to stay on, yeah, it's for most average. John says $8,500 is several months of mortgage payments. I mean, it's just crazy. You gotta have some extra cash saved up for that if you're gonna spend $8,500 on a bottle. Um, but they make them because there are people who can spend $8,500 on a bottle. And the state of Ohio, on the last go round, they proved that they had those bottles available and people did buy them. So there's people out there to buy them. So that's really kind of cool. All right, everybody. All I want to say is thanks for coming on tonight. Great podcast. We'll be on Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time again. Hopefully, no, I don't have a guest. Subject matter to be determined, but I look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday. And remember, www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X, Twitter and X, kind of the same thing. And then also all the podcast formats, Spotify, iHeart, and Apple. Make sure you check us out on Ask Siri or Alexa, you know, to check out the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, and they're gonna take you right there. So with that said, thanks everybody tonight. But remember, good bourbon equals good times and good friends, and I've got a lot of them. Remember, don't drink and drive, drink responsibly, and go out and live your life adventurously. Little Steve-O's gonna take us out.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die.
All right, let me quick get this ready for uploading tonight. I want to thank everybody, YouTube and Facebook. Great podcast. Let's see. Let me quick publish to for uploading. All right, we're gonna call this LESE bourbon. Save. And I want to let everybody know, when are you coming through Chicago Burbs again on your way to Wisconsin? Probably the Saturday of the, I want to say the 30th. This is Saturday the 30th. And then I'll be coming back Sunday the 31st of August. That's my goal. But I got to first make sure I get this picked up. I pick it up that following, and then I'm going to have to go down because the next weekend after that will be the week I leave to go to Kentucky. So the only way to get the Wisconsin drop, John, to everybody who purchased the new barrel, that Lillian Vernon and the William Dalton up in Wisconsin. The only way I can get it to them is that weekend. Otherwise, I gotta go in between, sometime in September. And I don't know. I don't want to make everybody. And I thought by now I would have had it. I was hoping that I would have been able to take it with me when I went on vacation in the beginning. I want to say in the beginning of August, or was it July? It was no, the week of July 4th. I was hoping to be taking it up there. That whole week when I was there. But that said, but I'm gonna have probably somewhere something late. Had a little tasting here. Oh, what did you taste, Matt? Thanks for jumping in late. Just want to know what you guys tasted. This is kind of fun. Anybody on YouTube, if you're watching, you can feel free to ask questions. We talked about special editions and limited editions, and I had a couple. I'm going to have one more. I was looking at all of these. I don't think I wonder which little book I grabbed. I think I want to say I grabbed the one that I haven't opened, but if I no, I grabbed the unopened little book from that I have from that I got this year. I want to say this is this year, chapter. Yep, this is 2024. This is chapter. Oh my God, it's crazy. I always want to say it's chapter 8, but I think it's chapter 8, The Path Not Taken. I've got this, so I don't have to pick that up at the festival this year. But excited to taste this on a podcast. But I'm waiting for Super Nash and CT to get their bottles. I'll probably. I've got this Parker Heritage, and I know this is barrel finish, and this is the one in the orange curacao. Yeah, the orange curacao barrels. Have a little bit of that. I love to do these for tastings because people who like wine really love this Parker Heritage. There's a lot of people. That's a little bit off, but I had a Buffalo Trace benchmark full proof and a sweet wheat afterwards. And shot over Old Overholt and Elmer T. Lee. All right. We tried the Ohio Rocks Maker's Marks. Yeah, I saw that those were how was the Ohio Rocks Maker's Mark? Because things work, but best to mule you that bottle from Whiskey Acres. Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get it. Now, John, did you pick up any of the barrel pick from French Lick? Am I delivering some of that to you? Is the question. Hmm, that's crazy. It's been a while since I had some of that, and that sitting in the bottle has turned into a spectacular whiskey. Wow. Initially, that orange was very, very prominent, but it's not anymore. For Thursday's tasting. What? No, we tried the Ohio Rocks Maker's Mark. Oh, that's my bottle to share. What, the orange curacao or the Maker's Mark? Ohio Rocks. Matt. Uh, Anybody on YouTube, man? We got 10 people out there. You got questions? I got answers. We're talking about very special. This one here is the creamy pumpkin pie. So I never got creamy pumpkin pie out of this yet, but I'm hoping that this is opened up and turned in because pumpkin pie is my favorite thing in the world. I'm not sure. I don't like that. I know that Ohio changed their names, and when they change their names, I don't get excited as much because you had the Ohio Rocks Maker's Mark. We tried the Ohio Rocks Maker's Mark. Um, how can you not? Now, is that your? Oh my God, you got me so confused, Matt. Is that what's the name of the current Maker's Mark release? I was gonna head over to the. What have you heard about that? So, anyways, we're getting anybody on YouTube. If you have questions, I'm monitoring the comments. So anybody with questions? Matt hasn't responded. I have not. You should, John. Those are some good bottles, and if I'm coming, I can bring you a couple. Just contact me on Messenger, and I can tell you the price and everything. Maker's Heart, the wood finish bottle. Uh, there are 3 Ohio ones. The current national release is called the Heart release. Uh, Maker's Heart, the wood finish bottle. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then Matt. Obviously, Matt's gone away, but I was hoping the Ohio would have done Cleveland Rocks instead of Ohio Rocks. Yeah, but at the same time, so Matt's sending me pictures of each one. Let's see. There is the Home Sweet Ohio, the Ohio Orchard Select, and Ohio Rocks. No, that's perfect for you, Matt Leisen of Cleveland on the Rocks, because Ohio does rock. But at the same time, what the hell, Ohio Rocks? It doesn't really make me want to buy that bottle. I know Ohio rocks and it's cool. And I understand why you want to buy the bottle. What did it taste like? What were the tasting notes? That's kind of scary to me. After they've done this marketing plan of pumpkin pie, and now the orchard one, I understand will probably have some apples. So, but at the same time, creme brulee and whatever. But what does Ohio rocks taste like? I mean, rock and roll doesn't taste what? Is it just bourbon? Is there flavors? I mean, come on, Matt. I was looking for the picture. We have all 3. I sent them to your phone. Yes, I did see that. I saw all 3. But my question is, what are the tasting notes? I mean, it's kind of crazy that they changed it because I really when I get creme brulee or caramel macchiato or whatever they are, dark cherry chocolate, I have to agree. I mean, the Green River that I bought through Aaron Harris, their barrel pick was called Cherry Jubilee, and it was cherry all day long. So what is I'm curious about Ohio rocks. Maybe I can only imagine, but you change the name. I don't think it sells as good as what it sells like when the other one's there. I'm gonna look up the stave profiles after this. Tasting notes are available from Makers. I'm looking for your Matt? What are your tasting notes on Ohio rocks? If you tasted it tonight, what were you tasting? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, there you go. This actually, I see where it comes with. This actually tastes like pumpkin pie with whipped cream now. Even got that whipped cream taste. Country one, cross country. Are available from Maker's Mark Ambassador Group and Cross Country Wax Hounds. I'll copy them over if I can. This week's OHH is a toast to our great state. These makers mark expressions include Ohio rocks featuring notes of honey, citrus, and allspice for a bright finish that builds into intensity. Ohio Orchard Select, delicious flavors. But did you get that? I mean, what? Okay, so honey, citrus, and allspice for a bright finish that builds in intensity. That is like painfully. I don't know what to say to that. I just don't. I'm gonna go back to YouTube here. See if I can go back to YouTube. Yeah, I should be able to. There we are. So, were you picking up honey? That's my question. That is Walker telling us what the tasting notes are, but I want to know what Matt's. I bought it, but I have an 8-person tasting Thursday. I was saving them for. Oh, so you didn't actually have a tasting tonight. You did it for Thursday. So Thursday you could tell me about it, right? That's a good that's like a podcast in a bottle right there. So once you get that, um let me know what your tasting notes are on that. I'm very, very intrigued. But Ohio has done a really good job with Maker's Mark. That's one thing about living in Ohio. The two things that you really, really that are available. Well, three. You can get chicken cock throughout the state of Ohio. You get the Maker's Marks. They've done a really good job there, and then also the Weller and Buffalo Trace products. Ohio seems to own that aspect of knowing what to do to really bring in Buffalo Trace products. Spectacular marketing Ohio has been able to do, and then that when it comes to the other stuff, Jim Beam and Wild Turkey, I would say Wild Turkey. I wish they would be able to, because I've never seen a Russell's 13 in the wild here in Ohio. It wasn't even like available from a case standpoint at my with through my guy. They don't see that. So to find that Russell's 13, whatever, I need help with from people all around, and I really never see it in the state of Ohio. But I'd like Wild Turkey to really do that. Now, to remind everybody, there's the Ohio, there's the Ohio bottle lottery. I'm going to be signing up for that probably tomorrow. And You just need a Ohio's driver's license. You get one entry per, and the lottery every time. I believe it's Rock Hill Farms. I believe it's Heaven Hill, I think 18, and Weller Single Barrel. So it's kind of cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, everybody. 10 o'clock, time to go. I'm gonna shut off the podcasts on Facebook and also Jeff. Rock Hill Farms. Yeah, that is a good one. But I gotta go. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Really appreciate it. Well, I'll turn off YouTube first. Thank you, everybody on YouTube, for watching tonight. As always, check us out on Thursday night for our next podcast, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be live. All right. Good night, everybody. I'll see you.